सर्दी का जब भी है वक्त आया, रहमत का लेकर बुरहान आया। से मुबारक सब मोमिनों को रमजान आया।
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all the listeners out there. Today you are joined by Nizam, Zain and Muhammad Jamal in the studio, and we're going to be talking about Kidma Organisation, the upcoming Community Fund Day, and the benefits of volunteering and why as a community we should be out there volunteering. Inshallah, we're going to cover some of the a bit of an introduction on KO, who they are, what the aims and objectives are, some of the benefits and virtues of volunteering in Islam, the benefits of volunteering to the youth, how it can enhance the CV and how it can help them when it comes to applying to jobs, coming to university or any other avenues in life that you choose to pursue, and then finally how people can get involved. So before we start, we'll just start off with Dawood Ibrahim, as it is the month of Ramadan as well, and Radio Seerah as well, so it sounds it would be the right thing to do. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. So Nizam, do you wanna introduce yourself as well?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nizam. I'm just an ordinary person, nothing special. As my career, what I do is I'm a teacher. I'm a mathematics teacher, mathematics and science teacher. I've taught in numerous schools across Leicester, Crown Hills, Judge Meadow, Moat, Cedar Academy, and quite a few other ones. So if you are a student or just finished school, you might notice me or my name or my voice. Before teaching, I've done quite a few different jobs. I was an engineer, did engineering at uni. I started my volunteering when I was in school as part of a course called the Duke of Edinburgh course, and I volunteered at a charity called Vista.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's heard of Duke of Edinburgh. Zain, have you heard of it?
Yeah, I have.
Come closer to the mic so people can hear you.
We've got our brother Zain here. He's I think 15 or 16. He's quite shy.
Yeah.
And, one of the youngest volunteers for our Kidma Organisation. But sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, it's all right. So yeah, the charity that I first started was a charity called Vista Blind. It's a blind people's charity. Originally they were based on Gwendolyn Road, Margaret Street, the big building, and Getting Road. It's quite a large plot of land, and it was dedicated to people who are visually impaired, helping them, the charity, about getting into jobs. Originally back in the war, that used to be they used to make shoes. Blind people used to make shoes for the soldiers in the war. But yeah, that's how I started volunteering when I was about 14 years old. Zain, I know last year you were with us. I think that's when you were 14 as well. You were helping us on the Unity Day. Was there any other experiences of volunteering that you've done?
Yeah, when I was quite young, I was about 10, 11 years old. I used to do Islamic relief with my sister and yourself. I went there for about a couple of years during Ramadan, and that's about it.
MashaAllah. So it's good to have young people, because I think that's one of the things that we don't see as often. Myself, Muhammad Jamal, yeah, I've been involved with Kidma from quite a young age. Alhamdulillah, I benefited from the fact that my father and his friends were some of the founding members of Kidma Organisation. So it sort of instilled that value of volunteering and sort of giving back to the community from very young age, and then as things happen, as you grow older, you sort of lose out of touch. You get busy with university and work, and you forget about what you go to university. I went out of town for a little while, and you forget about your hometown community and what the needs are of the community. And I think what happened with Kidma organisation is that we noticed that over the past few years with COVID, just before COVID and during COVID, that there was a need in the community for an organisation similar to Kidma organisation, where when we were younger, we had that buzz where each and every year we'd be looking forward to the Kidma Fun Day. That would be the talk of the town. Everyone would be like, what are you playing in Kidma? You're going to be at Kidma this year. And when you'd come to Kidma, you'd be looking forward to bumping into those familiar faces, those friends that you met every year at Kidma. For quite a lot of the volunteers and myself, the day before setting up, spending the day setting up, the day after as well, cleaning up, and the whole buzz around it was something which we remembered a lot from our childhood, and something we look forward to. And those, at the time, you're volunteering, you're giving your time for the community, but you don't realize all the benefits that come from it. And we wanted to sort of bring, as a younger team, we wanted to bring that same experience which we experienced when we were younger back to the current generation of youngsters, people like Zain and current madrasas which did participate last year. And inshallah, we'll talk a bit today about what we're planning to do this year, how we're going to build upon last year. But before we go into it, just a bit about people who are tuning in now, people who don't know who Kidma Organisation are. Kidma Organisation, originally they were set up in 1999 with the aim of supporting the local community of Leicester by providing a means of connecting the communities, because back in the day in 1999, and very much so now, there was a mass influx of different immigrants coming into the city of Leicester. You had the Indians, the Pakistanis, the Bengalis, all sorts of different communities coming together, but there was nothing to unite them. So Kidma set out with the vision of holding the annual Community Fun Day to bring people together, at the same time also giving an opportunity to the madrasa students, the women and men, to be able to participate in something, because during the weeks they were busy studying, doing the studyings at madrasas, which prevented them from being able to participate in any other sort of sporting activities as other people did. So last year we had our 20th annual Fun Day, and this year inshallah we're going to be having our 21st annual Community Fun Day. And inshallah we will be returning to Crown Hills again, which was a big return last year, because after the new building came, we were sort of prevented from using the building for quite a few years. And pass it over to Nizam. I mean, how did you find last year's Kidma Fun Day?
I think it reminded me of how it was when I was a kid, and the excitement that we had, even though I wasn't a keen fan of football. But just going on that day and seeing the masjid, so my madrasa versus another madrasa, and who wins that trophy, it really brought back a lot of memories. This time around, obviously I was on the volunteering side of it, so it was a bit different than the participant side. I saw the backhand of how everything works, the logistics, and how it all runs, and it was quite exciting to see that side of it.
Alhamdulillah, no, that's good to hear. And what was your sort of experience in terms of volunteering? So like, what area were you involved in? Like, how did you manage it on the day? What were sort of challenges, or what were sort of things you think went well? To other people listening out there, what would you say to them when they think about volunteering or sort of getting involved in it doesn't have to be necessarily a Kidma organisation, but any sort of organisation which gives back to the community?
Yeah, so what happened was last year, you and it was a little close unit, you referred to yourself as the core team. So you had your core team of volunteers who are in charge of organising. And I wasn't part of that core team. I was just like a outside. I knew Kidmo was going on. I didn't know what was happening, what help you needed. But because I asked you and other people, I asked Polly and a few other people that were taking part, and they were part of that core team, how can I help, how can I take part here and there? And he told me to come to this day where all the volunteers came together, and the football volunteers as well. And then I got assigned a role, which was to help out on the fun and food section. And then on the day, so I was part of the food team. And at the beginning, so in the original meeting a few weeks before the day, it looked like a pretty simple job, just to go around the stalls and make sure that the area is clean and tidy, to see if they've got what they needed, and if there's any litter, to just remind the stalls to make sure there's someone that's cleaning up the litter. But on the day it was completely different. As obviously you can't predict what happens on the day, and there's a lot more busier. It was a lot more helping out this area, that area, because on the day it rained, and it rained quite heavy in the morning. So when the stalls came and they were setting up their tents in the rain, we had to get the generators out for electricity and cover the generators up. And then some stalls came later than what expected, so we had to steward the vehicles in, to make sure none of the members of the public get hurt. And then a bit of everything, because even though I was in charge of, in terms of the fun area, the inflatables and the fun rides and all that stuff that we had, because it was raining quite heavy, we couldn't use any of those. So quite a few of the volunteers got readjusted into different areas, and on me, we had a group chat, and there's vehicles that were blocking someone's driveways and stuff like that. So I was just making the announcements. Obviously that wasn't what I was intending to do on the day, but you just take it as it comes.
Yeah, so I mean, you touched upon some of the challenges that we faced last year, and as a team, we were completely new. As I mentioned, we sort of took over the running of the Kidma Fun Day for the first time from our predecessors, who were very experienced, who had successfully run the day for many years, and at its peak, people, I think around 20,000 people were attending on the men's and the women's fun days, and I think majority of Muslims in Leicester, if you do approach them and ask them, do you know about Kidma organisation, about the fun day, they'll be able to recall the time that they went. But yeah, so last year we had our first experience taking over from the elders as seniors, and we were thrown into the deep end. And at the same time as well, we didn't have the most favourable weather conditions with heavy rain on the day. But I think it went pretty well. There were issues where people blocking drives, people bringing cars in, people not listening. But I think those are things that we can look to learn from this year, inshallah. But we're hoping to, inshallah, build upon what we did last year, hopefully with better weather, hoping more people attend, and inshallah we can sort of deliver a better service to the community, empower more of the community, and bring more community services together for the people of Leicester, so people can benefit. And just want to ask Zain, I know Zain, you had a sort of hand helping us last year as well. How did you find volunteering, or what was your experience of volunteering at the Kidma Fun Day last year?
Alright, so I actually got told last minute by Nizam to join him. So I did, and then he assigned me a role to just like be like probably like right hand man. Yeah. I do remember that at the end it was raining quite heavily, so I went around all the stalls asking them if they need help. There are quite a lot of benefits with being a volunteer. It was an amazing experience.
Could you tell us some of the benefits of being a volunteer? Because it's not to do with money. You never got paid.
Yeah.
So what other benefits did you have?
So at the end we actually went to, I think it was Q Bars. I went to.
What was it?
Moraba, yeah.
Oh, Moraba. Yeah, that's what it was. I went to go eat there. We got treated. I think it was a £10 limit for everyone.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. That was amazing.
So you're chuffed with the food afterwards. Alhamdulillah, that's good to hear.
What about in terms of satisfaction, because we don't, volunteering is not like a job. It's not something that, you know, you wake up in the morning, you got to go there, and then come back home tired, and then get paid at the end of the month. It's a bit different. And the intention is always got to be for the sake of Allah and to make Allah happy, because that's the only reward that you're getting. The reward shouldn't be about, oh, I'm going to get a job at the end of this, or I'm going to get like a reward or a medal. Obviously the meal is a perk,
Yeah.
but you didn't know that you're going to have a meal when you came in the morning. And I think that's what we've got to think about as how to give back to the community. Isn't that, or is there something you can add, Jamal?
Yeah, so I think that brings us on to like the next sort of thing we wanted to touch upon, which is the benefits of volunteering and like the virtues of volunteering in Islam. Now, by no means any of us are scholars. We lost our scholar who was meant to be with us here today, Molana Huzaifah, who usually advises on this, but inshallah we're hoping we can touch upon some of the benefits with our limited understanding. And obviously with it being the month of Ramadan, being also on Radio Seerah, we thought it would be perfect to talk about a bit about the Seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Without the volunteers, communities can't run, and the organizations, the social services, the conferences, the groups, all sorts of stuff that you have, like drop-in centers, like you have the Mughal Peace Center Food Bank, like Help the Homeless, libraries, all sorts of organizations, they survive on volunteers, and Kidman organization is just one of those many organizations. Without volunteers, all of these endeavors would come to a standstill. What's your thoughts on that, Nizam?
Yeah, it's true. We need volunteers to serve the people, and if you look at it, volunteers have been serving the people of Leicester for quite some time. The services that we have in Leicester is amazing, and people from outside, you know, different countries and even different cities, we've had a large influx of people coming in from London and other cities because they know the benefits of Leicester, and that's happened because of the people, you know, people volunteering, serving. We've got this radio shows is run by mainly volunteers. We've got loads of masajids, you know, the cleaning of the masjid, the opening of the doors, the key holders. That's all done by volunteers. And then you've got the charity, you mentioned a few of the charities, Help the Homeless and the food banks. Again, volunteers. So volunteers are the essential part of a community. And even if you think about it outside of Leicester, think about how Islam was brought across the world. Dawah was spread through volunteers. So Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, at the time of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, if it wasn't for the volunteers, we, this day and age, would not have received Islam. They went out of their way. They sacrificed their own money, their own time, their own sense of security in the place of where they used to work and live, and they sacrificed that all to spread deen. And that's a sign of volunteering. And the volunteering for Muslims is not a option, is obligatory in terms of giving back. I think that's the gist of what volunteering is, isn't it? And there's also a sense of being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's blessed us with so much. And just to give back, because when we came into this world, we never took a test to be in Leicester or to be in this family or as a Muslim. Allah tested us in different ways. So right now we might be in a country that we're getting iftar nice and hot, and we've had a nice breakfast for Sahri. But other parts of the country, other parts of the world, they might not be getting that. So this gratefulness leads back again to volunteering.
No, it's it's very true. I mean, paid employees only make up a small part of any sort of, not even all organisations. Like Kidman's run on completely not for profit. All people giving their time up voluntarily, but like social service network and other organisations which are a benefit to the community. Many of the time, only a few people actually are getting paid, and it's, as you said, it's important as Muslims. our role isn't only to give, to pray our salah, to fast and pay zakat. We're encouraged to take on a much broader role, to improve the communities that we live in. As you mentioned, like, all of us here today, we all benefit from the work of volunteers in Leicester. Like Leicester, alhamdulillah, they call it Leicester Sharif, so many masajids. I think there must be over 100 masajids set up in Leicester. And we hear time and time again our predecessors who came from India, Pakistan, the subcontinent, and they came here and they set up the maktabs and the madarises. So all of this is a benefit from the predecessors, and now it obviously comes down to the young people of this generation, the youngsters now, to carry on this legacy which was left by our elders and the people who came before us, who set up organizations like, for example, like Kidney Organization, and like all many other organizations which are in Leicester, FMO, other
Friends of Al-Aqsa, Rahmah,
so we have so many organizations, which many amazing organizations which are doing work in Leicester today. And when we look at the Seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, and when they went to all the wars that they fought, the Battle of Badr, the Battle of Uhud, the Battle of Hunain, all of the Sahaba, when you look at the lives of the Sahaba, they all had their own jobs. So they all had the job. Prophet ﷺ had his job. Abu Bakr, Umar radiallahu anhu, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Uthman, they all the Sahaba had a main job. But when they went to these expeditions, these conquests, to the wars, they did this all voluntarily. They did this all off the good of their own back to benefit Islam. So all of where we are today, all of the Seerah, it's based around volunteering. All the Sahaba are volunteering to give up their time for the sake of Islam. And when you think of it from that perspective, it's like, subhanallah, like volunteering is such a big sunnah, because none of the Sahaba were getting paid for the wars that they went, and for all the weeks and weeks on end, like when they were in Medina and the Battle of Ahzab happened, the trenches, they were there for weeks on end. All of these expeditions and everything that happened, they were all done off their own back, whilst they had their own families, own jobs. It was the good of their own time that they were giving up. And it shows that Muslims, us as Muslims, we have a bigger role to play, other than just doing our salah, fasting and paying zakat. Like visiting the sick, feeding the hungry, things like this, like which we touched upon Peace Centre, but like it's an amazing organisation in Leicester, like Monaroka, and the volunteers there, the work that they're doing to fulfil the rights of the neighbours. Alhamdulillah, it's amazing work, and it demonstrates that Islam is a faith of action, and Islam is there to make the world a better place. And as Muslims, more than ever, given the day and age we are now, we need to show the rest of the world, the rest of the UK, that Islam is there to the good side of Islam. Because unfortunately, when something bad happens, it gets all the press, but when something good is happening, it doesn't get the same sort of reception. And this is why I think as Muslims we need to work a lot harder, to volunteer, and show people out there the beauty of Islam.
Yeah, and I think another thing is that that we are so used to being critics, that we shouldn't be a couch critic. You know, we should take part. If there's something wrong, then take part and actively change something. So there are a lot of people that complain, you know, oh, there's parking problem, they've got this problem, they've got that problem, there's not enough spaces in madrasas, or there's so many different problems that people can say. But saying a problem isn't going to fix that problem, and taking part and actively trying to resolve that, even if you can't do it fully, at least you're helping to reduce that problem happening again. I think that's the main thing. We should actively take part and try to change society for the better. Zain, I know you're shaking your head out of shyness. What's your thoughts on taking part?
I don't know, to be honest. Basically, when
Should I help you out?
when I first joined, when I first volunteered, I just used to think it was good fun. That's because I was probably young. But when I started to get older, I used to get used to it, like helping out. And whenever I used to help out, I used to get this feeling like I've done something good. So I used to be quite pleased with myself. So, like whenever we used to go sell cakes for Islamic Relief, I used to get quite happy whenever we got a donation. And yeah, so I just want to like persuade people to come volunteer, even if it's a little bit.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Pakistan. So I think we have a caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, walaikum salam. Hi. Just like to say, mashallah, you do a really good job. You keep up the good work. But what I would just like to show is, when are we having a ladies' kidna event?
So, it's okay, because we've got a caller online asking about the ladies' kidna event, inshallah. So, one of the struggles we're having with the... Sorry, I don't know if it's echoing.
Yeah, stand up for a second. Yeah, go on, carry on.
So one of the struggles we're having currently with the ladies' fund days, inshallah, the volunteers, and subhanAllah, we are talking about volunteering today. So if there is anyone out there listening who would like to sort of volunteer their time or be happy to sort of coordinate with the organisation of the ladies' fund day, alhamdulillah, would be more than happy to get you guys on board, inshallah.